Hi dear, it's Iragis today, and I have some thoughts to share with you. About what? About the most deep matters. About those things which you want to know if you're a conscious person, if you want to have answers about how the things are working, functioning, about the wisdom, meaning the real laws of nature and of mechanisms which really rule this reality, and not the fairy tales which we are being served in every country. No matter where you were born, you are told one thing regarding all things, regarding how the world is functioning. I'm using the same word. The difference between reality and what we were told creates the problem. It creates the suffering. Because if you expect one thing and reality is different, it creates mental conflict. Mental, it just means originating and rooted in thinking. Like there is physical body, there is mental body, there are some other layers, like an onion of human being. And if you just get into the meaning of the word mental, you understand that it's related to thinking. So modern psychology, from what I understand, relies mental matters to chemical processes. So as far as I understand, because I didn't study psychology or psychiatry, but from what I understand, it is considered that the person, the human being, is a set of atoms, the set of particles. And if particles are functioning in a wrong way, meaning undesired way, creating unhappiness, then fixing it can be done through taking pills, through chemical influence. But if you literally think about the world, the pure word itself, mental issues, mental problems, it's related to thinking. And thinking is the result of your decisions about what to conclude about the world around you. So for me, it's obvious that even without studying the whole concept of chemical treatments of unhappiness, okay, there are chronic conditions when medicine is inevitable. I heard about it. So again, I'm repeating, I'm not a specialist in these matters of scientific approach. But if I use philosophical approach, if I use all the experience I have and tens of years of focusing myself on searching for the answers on the most important questions, for me it's obvious that wrong thinking makes people unhappy. Wrong meaning when you are told fairy tales about reality and you face something different in your everyday life, you are shocked. It's a conflict. It's a big shock. Because you have to deal with something which is different than what you were told is going to happen. So you have been lied to about many things. Then you face something totally different, so you are unprepared. You are unprepared for life. If your vision and expectations rely on fake beliefs about it. It's a very deep topic, but it has to be considered and analyzed if you really want to be happy, if you are determined not to suffer. And some years ago, I was studying the work of Osho. I should confess he is professional in understanding human ego and in understanding this whole mental process of looking at things and analyzing reality with maximum honesty to yourself in your conclusions. When you are not eager and not ready to suffer, only then you make right conclusions. And painful, honest approach gives you pain once, but after you accept it, it makes you strong forever. So Osho used to say that love is not love. Friendship is not friendship. It means that the word itself and your imagination about what is hiding behind this term is not what you experience in reality. So the words exist in the dictionaries, and the meaning of words is explained. But then when you face it in reality, it's something totally different than it was presented to you in an introduction. So love is not love. You can call someone a loving person. You can decide that you love someone. You can say that you love someone. But it doesn't mean that you actually feel it. And this is the reason for all lies and for all pretending and for all human interactions, which are regularly full of pretending something which you are not. Just because people are getting used to it from childhood. You mean one thing, you call it differently. Because it's easier. It's easier to function in this society if you obey. From childhood, you repeat what adults do, what most of adults do. When you are applauded for being convenient and applauded for not asking questions, you are supported and smiled when you do what they want you to do. And if you ask uncomfortable questions, of course, it is not encouraged. So children learn from very, very early days of their life. They learn to lie just to survive, because if you want to get the resources needed, necessary for survival, such as shelter, food, and mother's love, if you were lucky to have mother, they demand certain behaviors from you. So it's extremely difficult to be born here and not learn how to lie on a regular basis. But when you lie to others is one problem. The biggest problem is rooted in lying to yourself. So learned behavior of lying to yourself is, in my understanding, the reason for all mental issues. Because you lie to yourself. Things happen and you refuse to accept what happened. You want to interpret them, to explain them separately from actual happenings, separate from facts which took place. So they happen again and again. They repeat, and you're helpless every single time because you decided to be hiding from honest conclusions. So what people say is not what they feel. And also the meaning of words is surprisingly not what it transforms to in reality. They say that theory and practice are the same. But when you start doing something in practice, then theory and practice differ significantly. I wrote a little post about hope and what is hope. So hope sounds very promising, right? Hope is very important, an extremely important word in religions, in human life, in future, in expecting all best for you. But what is, in fact, what is really the state of hope? What does it actually mean? How does the person full of hope look like? And I wrote in this post that in the place where I was born, weakness and helplessness were not cool. It wasn't cool to be weak. I got one comment under my recent videos that you cannot be 100% genuine and real if you don't mention humans' frailty, if you don't mention the weaknesses. But look, if we are all condemned to frailty and to losing what we were given, isn't it more meaningful and more logical to focus on your strengths? So as long as you can be strong, why not focus on your strength and see where it can take you? Because the truth is that whatever you think of becomes stronger in your life. So which wolf you feed, that wolf becomes stronger. Where you put the laser of your attention, it grows. If you think about your weaknesses, you make them more. You make them more. They become stronger. Stronger weaknesses means you become less happy, because weakness means hopelessness. So if you think about how everything is deemed to fail, how everyone is going to age and die, why should you live then? You should just wait to be buried then. It makes no sense to live if you're expecting all kinds of adversity. It means that you refuse to live. You refuse to use and test your power to see what you're capable of in the version of being strong. I know it's a very unpopular subject, because nowadays in the whole world it's cool to be weak. Really, it's promoted as right, just to accept whatever your understanding is today. Just accept it and enjoy it. But how can you enjoy it if it's not your maximum version of wisdom, maximum level of understanding? The concept of improving your effectiveness of thinking, and this whole concept of power of will, of setting your goals, but meaning your goals, not those dictated by society, but what you want, what your soul wants from childhood, it just evaporated. Such words as courage, dignity, they don't exist anymore in the space around us. Some months ago, I accidentally found an old monument in Point Pleasant Park in Halifax, dedicated to soldiers. It was mentioned that the monument is dedicated to courageous people. It's not celebrated anymore. These words, in current state of experiments, because these are experiments. Every era, every new order of things is nothing else than a test to me. Just testing. How far can it go? How far people can agree for being exploited and giving up their power, giving up their chance to be happy. Because how can you be happy if your thinking is not effective? It's a very huge topic, but coming back to the beginning of the post, when I was born, weakness and helplessness were not cool. And maybe it was the same actually in all countries, because maybe simultaneously same types of experiments are being exercised in all countries, or the most of countries in the world. You know how they post those pictures about how it used to be in 1970 and how it is now, how things changed. So back then, helplessness and weakness were actually the reason for feeling ashamed. Because it's easy to give up and say, nothing is perfect, body is not perfect, it's bound to fail, it's bound to age and die. Nothing makes sense, so what should I do? Smoke weed day and night, like my neighbors? I have 3 chain smokers living under my apartment. They make hell out of my life now, It was Canada Day yesterday. They were smoking all time, day and night, portion after portion, massive attack. It just stinks like ashtray, my whole apartment. It's so discouraging, and it's so outrageous what they're doing. And speaking to landlord didn't help. I mean, landlord speaking to them, they don't care. That's why I'm escaping, spending time at home now. So I'm looking for solution, right? I'm reading the books which give some wisdom, lost and hidden wisdom to me. Also, I constantly analyze my life and draw conclusions from my own experiences all the time. Thanks to all these strategies, I know what I know, and I see and understand what I understand. So yes, it was a reason to be ashamed if you were showing your weakness, because it's not difficult to be weak. It's very easy to be weak. Naturally, people are weak, right? We are made weak. It's passive approach. But what if you try an active approach? Instead of focusing on meaninglessness of this world and reality, it reminds me of the story about Buddha. Siddhartha Buddha, the famous prophet and one of the wisest people in human history. Presumably, he was protected by his father, royal family in the palace. He lived protected from seeing old age and death, just in order not to discourage little boy. But one day Buddha saw old dead man, and he was shocked. He asked, "So what's that? What's that? What's kind of happening? Is it what happened here?" He was explained that everyone is predestined to age and die. And at that moment, as a wise man, he concluded that, oh well, then nothing makes sense. If that's the destiny of everyone, then I don't see the reason for living here. Yeah, it's very wise conclusion of thinking being. But if we are here, doesn't it look obvious and worth trying to check your version of being strong and see what will happen? Because being weak, it feels and tastes like hopelessness. It means that nothing wondrous will ever happen in your life. Because if you are familiar with the concepts of universe, of flow of attraction, magnetism, what you emanate with, what energy you are full of, what vibration you are vibrating on, is invisible, but it attracts the same vibration. So if you are full of hopelessness and you just wait for your death, if you are ruining your life, your body, you don't respect your possible strength, it means that you are waiting for death, really. You're destroying yourself. You attract the same people and exactly the same scenarios, which are the destiny of those who gave up. So it's easy to give up, but is it the most right thing to do? That's the question. All people who achieved more than others, they all repeat that you have to believe in you and you have to be strong, not weak but strong, and you have to check and test your limits. You have to develop your talents. You have to do all you can to fulfill your potential, your talents, your hidden treasures. And it never happens easy. It never happens right away, smoothly. It's the path of fulfillment, which is full of disappointments, full of exposure to uncomfortable situations. But it's the only path. They also call it path of the warrior, if someone read the books of Castaneda, Carlos Castaneda. It's all the same thing. But as they say, no risk, no story. No reasons for having your heart felt with pride for what you managed to happen, what you created and organized through your own active approach. And then every day looks like a hamster's wheel reality. No wonders will happen. No rewards. You get no rewards if you are not taking risks. Meaning, testing your strength and talents through putting yourself into uncomfortable situations, rather than passively wait for your death, even if you don't call it that way. So all people who look happy, who look fulfilled, who look rich if you want, so it's material success, they all repeat the same thing. That strong, strong, strong. You have to be strong. Happiness equals to being strong, not to being weak. And this beautiful song I love about believer. Pain. Da, 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 da. Believer, believer. Pain. No one wants pain, but everyone wants those who want a strong body. Strong body you get through pain, through painful, heavy stuff which you lift. Or if you do a headstand, you also can train your body using the weight of your body itself. It's easy to be weak, it's celebrated, but weakness has nothing to do with happiness, really. If you choose being weak, which means doing nothing, being passive, then don't expect happiness. It's impossible. Happiness is the result of doing everything to be your strong version. That's the recipe. That's the law of cause and effect. You cannot expect grapes growing on the apple tree. You cannot expect happiness coming from the life of hopelessness and weakness, and celebrating the weaknesses. Even if the whole world says that it's fine, it's okay to be weak, it's normal, relax, take it easy. We're all good, we're all weak, but that's why happiness is very rare. Because you have to be determined not to be unhappy, not to be suffer, to actually replace it with happiness. It doesn't come by itself, it's the most expensive achievement, happiness. Yeah, so that's why in my childhood hearing phrases like hope you will figure it out, or hope you will manage, oh hope you will be fine, especially in situations which I'm 100% sure about, always felt to me like doubting my understanding capacity. So if you are oriented to your strength and not to weaknesses, then the comments which nourish your weakness and helplessness sound like mockery. These are two different worlds, two different approaches. Celebrating happiness, strength, which gives you happiness, celebrating being strong, celebrating achievements, building the foundation of self-respect. And the way of passiveness and agreeing to be miserable, weak, hoping for something which never happens. So yeah, sharing thoughts, sharing visions and experiences, sharing conclusions, analytical conclusions, of course, that's something which is very interesting and valuable in my perception. But expressing hope instead of doing something, for me, sounds like mocking or immature. So I don't need or value hope. I don't value hope because I need solutions. I need solutions for improvements of all kinds in order to increase happiness and decrease sufferings of all types. Because natural state of this world is unhappiness. I want solutions to replace unhappiness and passiveness with happiness every single moment of my life. Because I refuse to suffer, sorry. I was not born for suffering. Even if the whole world tries to convince me that you have to suffer because some prophets suffered because it's nice, it's noble to suffer. No, sorry. I have my own brain, my own soul, my spirit, highest spirit you can say. And I definitely know what's good for me. Suffering is not good for me. No. I will not agree for making hell out of my life voluntarily. So I don't enjoy complaining. I don't enjoy celebrating weaknesses, but I enjoy development of all kinds. Development means developing your talents, celebrating your achievements, and getting done all you can to get more achievements. Being hungry for achievements. That's the hunger which Steve Jobs mentioned at his famous speech for the Stanford, I guess, university students. Is becoming a hunter for new achievements. It's different mode of life. I want development. I want better versions of myself. When I look at memories which Facebook shows me, if me today inspires me more than me 2 years or 3 years or 5 years or 1 year ago, according to the memories from Facebook, that's when I give myself approval, and I see that yes, I conclude that yeah, it's success. My current version is stronger. It's stronger and happier. And oftentimes I feel shocked what would happen if I didn't grow, if I didn't grow constantly, if I didn't do anything several years ago to improve the quality of my thinking and behaving. I'm just shocked of how I would have looked and have felt now if I was my previous version, because it's just how to say the word miserable. I don't like the version of me from previous years, and I'm extremely happy that I'm more satisfied with who I am now, and that's the biggest achievement, because you see that you don't live in vain. You see the progress, you measure it by yourself, you obviously see the changes in yourself. So the thinking became more effective. Naturally, it brought you the fruits of higher fulfillment and higher happiness from every second of this life. When you don't feel like a victim, but you feel like a hunter. For more happiness, for more strength. Strength, it's not the game of weakness, it's a game of being stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. If you say you have hope, but in reality you feel defeated, too small, not authorized to stand for your truth and values, not even to mention recognizing them honestly to your own self, staying in the mirror. I have such lyrics in one or more of my songs, that you have to answer to yourself honestly, looking in the mirror to your reflection, what your thoughts are and what your experience from this reality is, what you understood, what you should do and what you shouldn't do, what benefits you and what doesn't, what makes you weak, what makes you strong. So if you feel defeated, small, not authorized to stand for your truth and values, then in reality you are hopeless. So if you hope that things will get better by themselves, meaning you're doing nothing. You just do nothing and wait that accidentally I'll become happier one day. It will never happen. And in fact, you are already defeated because you obediently gave up. You are in fact hopeless. So here is the paradox. People call it hope when they do nothing. But in reality they are hopeless, because you cannot combine hope and action together. If you act, if you do something, if you believe in yourself, if you're proud of your previous achievements and you are on the path of development, you act. You have the habit of acting, because only acting gives you higher levels of achievements and understanding, just like with the physical body. Training gives you muscles, strength and good look. So when you act, you believe in yourself. And believe means action. And hope means passiveness, doing nothing. Because how can you combine the concept of hope and action? You don't need hope when you act. When you are doing something, you believe in yourself. That's why this famous song, Pain, da 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 da, believer, believer. He's singing believer, that he's believer. He's not hoper, if such word exists. Hope equals to doing nothing, to being miserable. And this word is very important in all religions of the world. But does it benefit you? You have to make conclusions. Because I'll repeat it. Happiness is not something which is given here for for free and to everyone. No. It's not the right of everyone. It's the highest achievement which you get through hard work. And the beginning of this process is fueled by reluctance to suffer. When you feel that no, if I do nothing, I will inevitably be miserable and unhappy, just like almost all people I know. Do you know many happy and fulfilled people around you? It's rare. And it corresponds to this very famous saying that if you want different results, you have to choose different approaches, different strategies. You have to change your thoughts, change your actions. And from what I know, successful people are afraid, they are panicking when they have to behave like most of people do. Because if you do what most of people do and think like most people think, you will get the same result which most of people get, which means being unhappy, pretending all life that you are happy, but in fact being deeply unhappy. I think when you're unhappy and you pretend that you're happy, it's even more degrading. It's even more suppressing. It brings even more pain. Luckily, I don't have to experience it. I don't lie to myself, and I don't lie to anyone else. I'm polite with people, but I don't pretend I'm happy when I'm not. No, sorry. Because my happiness to me is more important. The state which I feel when I live my life is more important to me than anything else in this world. That's why, no, I refuse to lie to myself. Sorry, I'm not my enemy. I'm my best friend. So if you just hope and you're doing nothing, someone benefits from it, obviously. That's why the word hope is sacred. You have to hope and do nothing. So you're predictable, rulable, unhappy. So, well, everyone is unhappy. It's kind of normal. If you want to be happy, you have to become abnormal, not normal. All religions just love it when people just obediently hope and do not act, because it's very convenient for preserving the power and their interests, not yours. Never yours. Such are my thoughts today. I'll save this live and will be thankful for your feedback. Maybe you have some thoughts, some experiences, some conclusions from your life. I will be very curious to read them. And yeah, see you soon. It was Aragis. Choose yourself to be strong or weak. What benefits you better? You know the answer. Just be frank with yourself.